Myo Renge Kyo Nam Myo Renge Kyo Myo Renge Kyo. Okay. Hi. It's another one of those walking meditation videos. This video might watch it first, but I'm thinking this video might be useful to you, not only for some clarification. You may already know what I'm talking about when I get into this video, but there is a great deal of misinformation, as I've often said, about Buddhism. And to me, it's one of the fundamental things that, as a Westerner, certainly, we really need to somehow get a mental chisel and knock this out of our heads. But we are so indoctrinated and trained in this self and other, this inside outside, this duality thinking, that it and you hear me say that, oh yeah, I know duality, oh yeah, I know. Listen, this kind of thinking is so deeply ingrained that it actually affects our perceptive ability. We simply trip over it constantly as we trying to understand concepts. It gets in the way of understanding Buddhism. And it's come up again. It comes up over and over again. So I've talked about it before in different ways and in different videos about different things, but it comes up. But it's been a while since I've actually sat down and said, okay, let's talk about this this idea of the wish-granting jewel. See, that's a westernization of it. The very translations of Pali Sanskrit texts for an English-speaking world, even for Chinese-speaking or other languages it's been translated into. The conceptual thinking in Buddhism gets twisted by those very same inculcated ideas. And religion in general, not just in America, which is barely a notion of itself these days, but all over the world, religions of all sort just pound this idea of otherness, and we actually, our presence as a human on earth, the result of that pounding makes us smaller and smaller, less and less in control of life, as it were, ours certainly. And see, and this flies so directly in the face of Buddhism, because Buddhism isn't about recognizing that or edifying that duality or succumbing to that duality. Buddhism recognizes the duality, that's samsara. The difference is that Buddhism is a tool to see through that, to see to the singularity that is the entire process of life, throughout everything. So the language gets in the way, especially when the language is a translation from a culture that is very inculcated into separateness. So you get groups like, and I'll name them, Daisaku Ikeda's or cult, amazing in seizing this Western cultural, what do we call it? It sticks to all our feet. It's part of our, it's inculcated, truly the sense of the word, into our minds in the West. And he's gone in, and not only him, he gets a little of it from Nichiren Shoshu and other sectarian religious ideals, but he's managed to take our desire for getting something for nothing for dreaming and getting those dreams fulfilled by some outside thing, and he's put it into Buddhism. I don't even understand how that's possible. If you study, you can start that way, and people have. But if you study, as Shakyamuni tells us to, as Nichiren tells us to, if you study, even through all the transcribing errors and misleading language, you're going to get the point. And that's when you leave those organizations, because they're just muck. They're just so misleading and enemies of the Buddha. And I'm using Shakyamuni's language, Nichiren's language, Tendai's language. If you're going to practice what you think is Buddhism, you are defiling yourself if you're not doing it correctly. You know, things like, this is one of the reasons I have such an issue with the word prayer, because that word prayer really has built into it this desire to come from other. Go take it to Gohonzon, pray to Gohonzon. And yet, Nichiren tells you, don't look for Gohonzon any other place but yourself. Why? Because enlightenment is yours. It's your Buddha. It's not there. It's not on the piece of paper. It's not in the Butsudan. It's not in the book. It's not even in the words you chant. All you're doing is invoking something in you. You ever been in a sport? You ever been in a situation where you had to motivate yourself to do something? I don't want to get up this morning. I don't want to paint the house. I don't want to deal with starting the car. And how do you get there? I mean, we all do it constantly, right? I don't feel like eating. I don't want to stop eating. Whatever. What do? You turn inward, whether consciously or not, you turn inward and you make a decision. Hell with it. Oh, okay, go do it. Oh, I got to paint the house. And you walk around and putting your clothes on to paint the house, and you go, I got to paint the house. I got to paint the house. And you keep chanting this mantra to yourself until you finally motivate who? The paint to get up by itself and paint the house to magically change colors? No. You go paint the house. Who paints the house? You do. It's really simple. We don't sit in our beds praying magically that the house paints itself. How silly would that be? And yet, that's what we do in life. And that's what sects have done, like religion, is inculcate this magical thinking. It's just nonsense. Stop it. And realize when you're reading translations that they are translations. So try to see beyond those words, because they will trick you. This is why Nichiren says earthly desires are enlightenment. Because once again, Buddhism nods to duality. We're in it. But don't stay in it. Use it. Use it against itself. Go to your perfect mirror, your Gohonzon, chant and invoke your Buddha. Wish granting, even if you translated that poorly, wish as wish granting, isn't a Western wish for something being given to you. It's you giving it to you. You're giving yourself permission to, get enlightened. I know I'm really animated right now, but holy my, this is such an incredibly obstinate stumbling block. It's not even hard. It's just, why won't it go away? So that's why I'm doing this video. If you want to introduce, I don't know if something this animated might help or harm you, but I know some people talk to me about, I wouldn't know the first place to start in telling somebody about Buddhism who's never, or maybe they're curious and they go, well, what is Buddhism or how does it work? And I just go, and I don't know what to say. Well, put this video on. Have some fun. Human beings, we're all stuck in this idea that if we just wait long enough, or if we just endure our suffering, or if we just wish it something better into existence, it'll happen. I'll pray on it. No, do something. Buddhist meditation in the Lotus Sutra is not about waiting. It's about having clarity right now, immediate, because it's already there. You're just clouding the issue with all this human crud. It's all getting in your, why does this always happen to me? God, it's like a pattern. I went through this last year or last month. It's like cyclical. I'm always going through this. Stop. It's like my fish analogy. I don't know if you watch that or I think I have a little paper on it on my website. It's like this fish is just flying through the water as fast as it can. Go, 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 go. And another fish sees it, is like, tries to catch up to it, comes up to it. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm trying to get to Buddhahood. I'm trying to get to my Buddha nature. I'm trying to get it. And the other fish thinks it for a second, puts his hand and stops him. Stop, stop. It's the water. You're in it. Just stop. Huh? So when you read verbiage like wish granting jewel or take it to Gohanzan, or which is from Earthly Desires Are Enlightenment, or anything like that, you have got to put this little mental calculator in your head, whatever, visualize it some way, like a catcher's mitt. Go, oh, I know what that is. It's a fastball. And then get back in the game. Don't sit there staring at the mitt going, I want a ball. I want a ball. I want a ball. What are you doing? Earthly desires are enlightenment. Why? Because enlightenment is here, and earthly desires are in your way. The Four Noble Truths. Remember, all life is suffering. Why? Attachments. What are desires? Attachments. How do you liberate yourself from suffering? Get rid of the attachments. How do you get rid of the attachments? Change your behavior. That's the Four Noble Truths. I wish I had a better mouth. Well, just do it. Have a better mouth. That's it. But we're hammered day in and day out. Commercials tell us, sitcoms tell us, movies tell us, computers tell us, Microsoft tells us, AMD tells us, Shadow Warrior tells us, Halo tells us. Everything constantly hammers into our heads. This is where comic books come in, right? They play with that magical thinking. They create superheroes that are idealizations of what we wish we could be. And why do we want to be so powerful? To defeat the thing that cripples us. Well, what cripples us is our attachments, our desires, our wanting things for free. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. I don't got it. Give it to me, give it to me. You have it. Stop asking for it. It's really that simple. Can you understand how much control others have over your life because you hand it over to them? Consider that. None of us are victims unless we're victims of ourselves. And that kind of language shouldn't make sense to you. It should not make sense to you. You are free. It's everything you desire and put yourself under that takes away your freedom. It doesn't take it away. It hides it from you. Sorry. Got a tree limb in my mouth. Man, it won't go. So this is, just plain talk right here. You have to really get the concept. Sit down in front of your Gohonzon and chant for as long as it takes for you to understand that at some point you're going to fuse with that Gohonzon. At some point you're going to feel like the whole world went away and it's just you and that calligraphy. It's going to change your eyesight. Make sure there's good light on it, not a bunch of distractions. Put it in a darker room and just light the Gohonzon. Sit, make comfortable, and chant. Chant, looking at that character Myo. Myoho Renge Kyo. I want to be integral with you. Even if you got to use the old cliche. I want to be one with you. I want to experience. Well, I just read something. Single-mindedly pursuing your Buddha. Single-mindedly achieving your Buddha-ness. That's what I'm on. That's what I'm looking for. That's earthly desires are enlightenment, right there. You can start with, I want a bright red Camaro to impress my girlfriend. Myoho Renge Kyo. But if you focus on Gohonzon, and this is the confidence Nichiren has, if you focus on your Gohonzon well, you'll the color red, the Camaro, even the girlfriend will disappear as your focus becomes deeper and deeper. Onto what? The scroll? No, what it represents. You, your Buddha. Not there, not somewhere. You, your mind. Not your body. Your mind is much larger than that. Now we get to the other part of this question. How do you chant for others? That's come up too. Same question. It's a trick. You get told, oh, chant for that person's happiness. That's an interesting trick. Because it's confronting the hardcore opinions you have, you're trying to get rid of. So it's kind of jumbling you up a little bit so that maybe you can get to penetrating Gohonzon. Again, that's just a tool. That's just a mirror. That's not Gohonzon. It's a representation of it, but it's a representation of it through words, through the teachings, through... See, this is, again, I'm going to bring it up, the separation of teaching versus Dharma. In order to know Dharma, you must study the teachings. But to experience the Dharma is not the teachings. The Dharma is the fusion of you and your Buddha nature. And that Buddha nature is consistent and throughout everything that's made this universe and however many universes you believe there are. The only one we're concerned with right now is the one we're in. So when you unify with Buddha, you are affecting on balance the energy of everything that creates life. And guess what? The person or people you're chanting about are part of that. So yeah, there's a connection, a very real connection. Do I want to chant for Bob to get a cherry red Camaro? Apart from how ridiculous that sounds. This is your earthly desire. So you're going to take that earthly desire, you're going to plant yourself in front of Gohanzen, and you're going to chant. And guess who you're affecting? It's not the Camaro. It's not your friend either. It's all about your Buddha nature, and it's all about you. You're always told in life, you think it's all about you. Well, in this case, it is, because the you part is what's in the way. The you part is what's the impermanent vessel of this consciousness. And your whole job in this life is to clear away the suffering in that consciousness so you can see clearly how amazing life is, how precious it is to experience it, how fleeting it is. Cliches abound. So the Buddhist practice, it is all about you. But think, if you are living this life as well as at its maximum potential for you, how can you not affect your environment? How can you not affect the people around you? You ever notice when somebody walks in a room and they're laughing, and it even silly laugh, how suddenly your heart lifts no matter what condition you're in? Your life condition matters. Certainly it matters to you, but you cannot help but affect your surroundings, even if they're not immediate. That's why we can say as Buddhists, the slaughter that's going on in Yemen right now is something you and I also suffer. That is a horrible life condition, and it's being propagated by evil men and women. Can we chant to change those people? You can, but realize what's actually happening. When you chant, when you're motivated to chant lots of daimoku because that's abhorrent and you want it to change, you are affecting your Buddha-ness. And your Buddha-ness is your Buddha wisdom to that thing called Buddha, that consciousness called Buddha, that energy called Buddha. And that energy is in everything, right? Ichinen Sanzen, 3,000 realms. We're all a part of that 3,000 realms. So if we, even if it's a drop in the ocean, affect that ocean, we are cleansing our lives and we are making an effort toward Kozen Rufu, toward affecting the lives of all life, everyone, everything in life. That's huge. That's big. That's motivator enough. You don't need to wish for a cherry red Camaro. Maybe if you cleanse enough of your karma as you focus on your Buddha nature, you'll suddenly have a Lamborghini. You don't know. You don't know what fortunes your Buddha nature can and will have in this instantiation, so that you can continue to be motivated and do work to cleanse the whole, to affect the whole. But we have to start with number one. And then when our confidence grows and our resolution grows, our resolve grows, we affect those around us, and they will come. You don't have to force yourself to go out and find somebody to guide into Buddhism. You don't have to do that. You can if you're motivated to. Wow, you are going to feel it fast. But I'm telling you, if you focus on your Buddha nature, people will come out of the woodwork and ask you almost direct. You'll look at them like with a second look, like, do you realize what you're asking me? And you know, that might be really cool, and you could hit it off right away, and it's just, then you got a buddy, and you start building your own sector of the Sangha, and you build on each other, and you practice together, and you have hard times together because you're dealing with some deep stuff. The deep stuff is the stuff that we hang on to, that we think makes us who we are. Ego. So this is the bottom line with religions. They manipulate you by your ego. They grab it really good. They say, we got you. Now you have to do this stuff, or I'm not letting go of your ego. Buddhism has nothing like that. Buddhism says, it's all yours. Just stop getting in the way. Here's a method to stop getting in the way. So all of that rhetoric, and do me a favor, don't use the word prayer, because you're just training yourself in the same crap that we've been given since we were born. Stop it. Don't use that word. It's too misleading. And it's like, you know, it's like comfort food. You know it's bad for you, but it has all those wonderful memories of a younger time when everything was given to you. Don't you want that again? Was it Bertrand Russell who said religions are just, they're very childlike. You think like a child. You just expect everything to come to you. He's not unreasonable in that statement. Buddhism is not a religion. Buddhism doesn't give you anything to want. It just gives you a way to get what you already have. It's a much better life. And when you hear people use the word mindfulness, think about that. It's kind of redundant, but the mindfulness they're referring to is, remember, you already have this. Stop getting in your way. Wow, I'm getting really tired of you. This computer is having a problem with its USB connection, but I will fix it. Anyway, I think I've ranted long enough on that one, but certainly you'll have questions. And don't feel bad. We have a lot of psychic cultural baggage that does a really good job of convincing us we're right because it's always been this way. So Buddhism, it may make sense to you right away. You may see it and go, wow, this is amazing. But that doesn't mean you won't trip every now and again and go, oh yeah, what am I doing? That's okay. None of us is imbued with immediate enlightenment. See, enlightenment, like turning a light on in a room, or awakening, you have to understand. Buddhism takes itself seriously and says, look, this is here. The only reason you don't see it is because you didn't flick the light switch on. You didn't bring a flashlight. You're asleep. Even Gurdjieff said this in his philosophy of the fourth way. There's a lot of bizarre stuff in that, but fundamentally, he says the exact same thing. Most people go through life asleep. They just fall through life waiting for something to affect their path. It's just inertia. There's movies about that called inertia. We just let the pattern continue. And Buddhism just says, you know what? You don't have to stay in the pattern. It's a choice. Wow, that sounds like work. Well, yeah, it is. But the payoff is unknowable. It's immense. So I encourage you, check it out, try it out. Clarity beats obfuscation and magical thinking all the hell. I hope that made some sense. I really do. But if it didn't, let me know. Give me some key words that I can look at and go, I get what's tripping people up, or these people up, or this person up. Let me address that. Let me do a little study and go, okay, here's what I see is behind that. Let's take it apart. Let's fix it together. Ah, man, I want the opportunity to do that, because this is blocking so many from accomplishing their practice. It pains me. That's why I'm so animated. How do I clear this up? Because this practice is just, it's too amazing to just kick it around like an old can like that. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You deserve more. Let me know, okay? I'd really appreciate it. Hopefully you'll really appreciate it. And let's all enlighten together. I'm tired of the suffering. Really tired of it. My life has come a long way in 40 years, let me tell you. I don't want to bore you with stories, but I have all the proof I need. And still, I'm working on it. So look, if it happens in a week for you, tell me what you did. Hopefully I'll learn something from it. But life takes effort. Life takes effort. The question is, are you going to put in the effort, or are you just going to cruise along and slide away with the rest of the moss? You can do that. I don't think it's a very satisfying or happy life, but I think that comes from fear, actually. Because we have the energy. All of us have the potential. That's what Buddhism's about. Actualize your potential. Even a little bit. We don't all have to walk around like glowing lights and a lump on our head. We don't, that's not what Buddhism is about. It's about living this life as best as we can, as fulfilled as we can, with as little suffering as possible. That's what Buddhism's about. All right, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Make comments. Let me know what you think, okay? Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. And try chanting for a while. Really focused chanting. Make that Gohanzen dance in your eyes. That's my advice for you. Take care. Bye-bye.